Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us on our regular live Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific meeting where we talk about U.S. immigration, taking your questions live on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm on location today, undisclosed location in south of in Mexico, but I wanted to make sure I joined our regular Tuesday, 4 p.m. chat, 7 p.m. Eastern, talk about U.S. immigration, taking your questions live. You can post them here, intended for general educational purposes only, not individual case stuff, but we generally talk about what's going on, helps out people understand the immigration process better. Having said that, again, this is not intended for individual legal advice. Also, the only way we can work with you is if you do a video consultation. So if someone contacts you on Facebook or WhatsApp and just texts you whatever and gets money from you, wants to send a contract, that's not us. There's a lot of fraud that goes on. If you ever are going to hire something, we're going to have a consultation before we do it. We see each other by video. Now there's a consultation fee that you have to pay as a link for that. But once you go past that, you're going to see and talk to me because we have to get to know each other first before doing anything. We don't want to just jump into something or without knowing all the facts. And that's how you know it's going to be me too or my team doing it because you're going to talk with me or sometimes my associate attorney, Anya Sergeyeva, about your immigration case. So we're logging in, we're getting the questions, everyone's popping up. So if you have questions, please let me know. We'll see how the internet works in this place that we're at right here. Again, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi here to take your questions about U.S. immigration law. Now, I got some timeline stuff I usually don't like answering questions about, but I thought I'd share. Um, we got an approval just like a few minutes ago for a marriage adjustment case of a Ukrainian national. Filed the case 6 months ago, adjustment of status, marriage to U.S. citizen, and we just got an approval notice exactly 6 months ago. Got it just a couple of minutes ago or an hour ago, like 5-10 minutes ago. So 6 minutes adjustment of status. I can't remember where they live right now off the top of my head, but that's the timeline there. We also finally got an interview for a spouse of a U.S. citizen. They're Kenyan couple, U.S. citizen here, spouse from Kenya. In that case, after being documentarily qualified by the National Visa Center, was approved 2 years later. So it's a pretty horrible timeline. Now we have Nigerian cases that are kind of doing worse. I have a lot of spouse of green card holder cases in Nigeria, not citizens at this time. They're going raw. Ved says, I got married last 2 weeks. I want to hire you for my case. Well, congratulations on getting married, Ved. First thing to do is just go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. So we know it's you and get your contact info. Send you a guide that goes through the whole process. And then also send you a link to schedule a private video consultation with you and your spouse. So you go through the whole case first to make sure that case works. There's no issues because there's random issues that pop up in cases. We got to know from the very beginning. We don't want to get hired, start working on a case, then like a month later, like, oh, we can't do the case because this problem exists, or oh, there's this huge amount of work and there's more fees. I don't want to. I try to avoid people being blindsided. So that's why we do initial investigations at the beginning into a case. That's what a consultation is for. But to do that, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Again, that's jqqlaw.com/contact. And there we could really get into it and talk in private about what's going on. But thank you so much. Usually we get a bunch of questions on YouTube at this time. I'm not sure why it's not happening. The internet's being bad or something, but we'll see. Is it wise to send your case without evidence? We don't like to do that, but some law firms do, and they wait for them to respond, but we don't like to send stuff without evidence. Ved says there a consultation fee? There is. Please go to the contact us page, Ved, and we get specified there, but there is a consultation fee to talk with us about your case, investigate it. We provide more services during consultation. Other lawyers just have a quick chat and stuff, so they may not charge, but we do full-on investigation, follow-up, write-up, so it's all this kind of stuff. So it's like a whole thing. Sapphire says, is it wise to travel domestically with CA AB60 license? I can't, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I can say it's wise or not. Typically, there's no issues, but who knows? It's up to you if it's something you want to do. Krzyzek says, I'm curious why K3 advertises allowing spouses to be in the U.S. when it's slower than I-130 approval. They don't really advertise it. It's something that existed back when that I-130 processing times were longer, I guess, but K3 is almost worthless, except strategically you might want to do it sometimes. Okay, so let me know if you have questions on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or on Instagram as well. Yvette, okay, look forward to talking with Yvette. Nepali says, what puts a case on administrative processing, MVC? No, administrative processing is past the MVC National Visa Center stage. Administrative processing happens after the embassy interview, and it can be for several reasons. One is it just means the government needs specific documents from you, so they put the case in administrative processing refusal, and they wait for you to send the documents. or like a medical checkup to get there. And then alternatively, sometimes they internally need to do more background checks or some paperwork. They don't tell you why you're administrative processing, but they just put you there and you're stuck. And hopefully it gets done sooner rather than later. Brian says, any way DACA can apply for green card? Not the DACA itself doesn't directly add it, but let's say you traveled with DACA AP, then you married a U.S. citizen, that may be a path. So the DACA itself is rarely helpful. I mean, in some ways it can be helpful, but essentially you need to find an independent path versus getting a green card. All right, we got some question on YouTube. Jen asks, hi, John. I just wanted to come on here and let you know a couple of things. So we got refused for 221G, needing more proof, a death certificate from my previous marriage. Okay, Jen, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, when you if you're remarried and your previous spouse passed away, you need to bring the death certificate. So that's definitely one that's needed. 221G is administrative processing as well. It's a refusal, not a denial. They just say like the terms refusal did not sound the same, but for the government, for shady reasons, has differentiated what the terms are. And then it follows up. So we submit all the documentation. We send letters from family. Also send a letter regards to our relationship. And why am I requesting him to be given the visa? Okay, John, I don't remember the details of your case, but hopefully that all works out. But yeah, you definitely need if it's a new spouse case, definitely need to have that thing. So I got a response back from the consul that's under administrative processing, and they will contact you when it's completed. Does it sound like it's moving forward? You never really know when it goes into administrative processing. You never know if they're going to approve it tomorrow or 2 years from now or never or denial. It's a no man's land, unfortunately. It's very obnoxious and frustrating. I'm sorry to hear that, Jen. Hayan says, had submitted I-485 family-based application Dallas, Texas, but got no receipt from National Benefit Center. Is it normal? No, you're supposed to get a receipt. I'm not sure what happened there. Brandon says, can my partner come to America on a tourist visa with our kids? We get married in America. They all stay. Can we apply for adjustment of status? When you come on a tourist visa, you are saying that I do not have immigrant intent, plan to stay here. So if you go and turn around and actually stay here, and you planned out, then you could turn around and actually stay here if you change your mind to stay. But if you're coming and planning it out, that's called immigrant intent, and that's against the law to do that. That they can stop you at the border. But if you come in with a temporary intent and then decide to change, that's possible. Lily Falls asks, hi, John. Happy New Month. Same to you. Is it advisable to go to interview abroad with your spouse? I'm not sure what kind of interview case you have, but let's say it's a marriage case, your spouse, U.S. citizen, green card holder. You don't need to bring your spouse. They don't it doesn't really matter. Kone asks, how long does M400 take to be completed? It could be 2 months. It could be 2 years on average. All right. KW says, question on case status. If you get this message, what does it mean? Case closed, benefit by other means. That means what you're looking for wasn't needed anymore because you got a benefit in a certain way. So, for example, if you had advanced parole, permission to travel, but your adjustment of status case was approved, they'll deny the advanced parole because you got the adjustment of the green card, so you don't really need that case anymore. Prismar asks, can someone who entered parole on 212D5 apply for EAD category C11, even if they didn't apply for asylum? I don't think they can. We don't usually handle those kind of cases. I know how a Russian acrylic today. If green card is category S6, primary asylee, instead of AS5, child of asylee, will there be problems re-entering the USA naturalization? If it's an incorrect category, you just have to fix it. It probably won't, but I don't know enough details about what happened that this happened. Maybe it was a government error. Maybe there's some paperwork you submitted was error. So I don't want to give you an answer to that. Our Zeusman says, hi, are these the main documents needed? Check out our guide because you're missing one for sure. So our Zoomstein, I have a guide, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, 70 pages. It'll answer your question because you are missing stuff. Again, the website is marriageimmigrationlaw.com, free guide there. Brandy says, do you send off I-130 and I-31 off at the same time? Yes, or you could do it online and upload the I-138. D says, would my local USCIS office transfer my I-751 case when I-400 adjudicated with any impact no processing? They're supposed to just connect all the cases together. It is, who knows? It usually happens fine, but, it is what it is. We never know what the government's going to happen. Chrismar says, thank you. You're welcome, Chrismar. I wish you the best on that case. And Hayan says, thanks. You're welcome, Hayan Parma. Brayon says, I'll answer that question. Mako, what is the processing times for I-485 submitted 1 year ago for some approval? It varies. I don't have an answer for that. Yes, would my local USCIS office take over my I-751? Yes. Is it supposed to? Ved says, my husband didn't file his taxes last year. Is that important for the marriage green card? Yeah, you have to have updated taxes. If he didn't, you have to have an extension. They'll RFU for that before they approve the case. So you need to figure out the taxes for sure. S. Rami says, if a person is from Afghanistan is now in Sweden, can he apply for SIV? We don't handle SIV cases at our firm, so I don't want to advise on that. Sima says, I was denied. Do you think an appeal is worth it? Sima, there's no information for me to make any form of rational answer to that question. Please schedule a private consultation. Okay, Vet, I answered your question about that. Panda says, hi there. My fiance from UK doesn't have citizenship. Can they still come here with fiance visa? My fiance is from UK, doesn't have citizenship. Can they still come here? What do you mean doesn't have citizenship? Can they still come here with fiance? They have a passport. The question doesn't make sense. Jacob, he says, any updates on the CR1 visa processing times? No, there's never any updates. Just every case is different. Okay, let's see. Bruno says, can I apply for visa lottery if I live in the U.S. already? Yeah, that's possible. And the green card lottery opens that up today, so that might be something everyone should do if they can. Eliza says, if someone enters the United States illegally, is there any way to get them a driver's license? Well, in California, they do. That's the previous question asked about that, but check your local state rules. Darian says, how fast are I-129s being processed right now? The government says 8.5 months average. I don't really believe them. I always at 2 months, whatever they say. Vlad says, they made a mistake, Marafi. They put things that are part of my petition. How do I reply? Yeah, that's the government. You got to just, I don't know how to reply to see what the issue is to tell you how to reply. So schedule a private consultation. You got to get hired to really get into that. Brandon says, do my spouse and our kids each need to file their own I-485 application? Yeah, each person applying for a green card has to file a full application, adjustment of status or constant processing. Vlad says, okay, Anto says, what's the fastest way to go from DACA to more permanent status? Get married U.S. citizen after having valid entry of some sort. Bruno, thank you for your help. You're welcome, Bruno. Jay Anderson, I submitted my green card application. Now I have the physical envelopes. Where do I mail it to now? What physical envelopes? Are you talking about the medical checkup? You wait for the USCIS to ask for it. Janky says, how soon can a spouse of a green card holder having a green card apply for citizenship? 5 years, 5 years, regular timeline. Okay, Jay Anderson, you're getting muted. Unfortunately, they don't make it annoying. Let's see, Jay Anderson. I see all your questions. Guys, got to be patient. Okay, mute. Okay. No. Okay, some squiggly writing I can't read. Mom has no income, education, old. She's in the U.S. as a tourist. Was she disqualified to a public charge? No, those are reasons to be disqualified for public charge. J2 says, our social security number was not generated by the immigration officer for almost 30 days. Can you help us? Immigration does not generate these. That's the social security office. You have to go and contact them if you've had status issue. Destiny says, hi, Mr. K. Hope all is well. Do you know where you can find the I-94? Hi, Destiny. Yes, just go online, Google, type in I-94, then the Customs and Border Protection website, CBP, will pop up. You put the passport information of the foreign national, and it should bring it up. Sometimes it doesn't, but that should be happening. Osama says, how long is USCIS needed after RFE received? There's no timeline. Bruno follows up. Sorry, just one more question. Are they still waiving marriage interviews? For most cases, but it's like 99% of the time, but you might be the 1%. Big Morgan says, is there any way to invest in the U.S. economy with $1 million to become a citizen? When you won't become a citizen, you could potentially get a green card called the EB-5 investor program. Darian says, do you know how long it takes to get an interview at the embassy in Colombia? It depends on what kind of visa category you have and a lot of different factors. So it's different for everyone. Sarah says, can I reapply probably for visa interview while my fiance visa went for administrative review with different embassy, different country? No, your case is already at that embassy is processing. There's no changing at this point. Bank says, how much for a consultation with you? You got to message our office, our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. We'll let you know there. It varies on various factors. So we try to sometimes make it lower if needed. But the best place to ask about cost stuff or consultation is go to the website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Panda says, so what I'm trying to say is my fiance just got to the UK. Okay, they got to have some sort of passport. And then for the visa, they may need to show they have status in that country. Sometimes they won't do a visa if they don't. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Anto says, with DACA status, apply for advanced parole and then go with marriage after marriage file AP. It doesn't matter. AP is based on what you need to do outside, and then you come back and get married if you like. That's the case. But marriage to U.S. citizens makes it possible. So if you marry a non-citizen, that won't work. Gan says, I got an RFE for my birth certificate and I applied for military PIP. Is it likely I will get approved? I don't know. I don't know what the issue is with your birth certificate or your background, so I can't give any likelihoods of things. I don't know anything about you. Darius says for the fiance visa. Yeah, Darian, I don't know what the current timelines are. I can't answer that. Jade says the immigration officer should do something about it upon our entry process. No, that's Social Security. If you pay the fee, if it generally got to come to that Social Security office, it's not the immigration officer. T-Rex says, is it safe to travel outside the U.S. using aided stamp? Is it safe to get in a car to drive to work? You may get in a car accident. That's why you have car insurance. And it happens. I see after the accidents every day. Hasn't happened to me, but it happens. So that's the answer to that. Safe is what you make of it, what you consider safe. Are they supposed to be the one to say no? J2 told you the third time. Social Security office, they just notified the Social Security office that you have status. You got to go and talk to the Social Security office because at that point, Social Security office takes over. And maybe they have I don't know. I don't know what's going on with your case. I'm not in charge of it. So if you haven't gotten in, first you got to go to the Social Security office, see what they say. Sultan says, if I go to the country I'm doing interview by foot, can possibly USC ask me where's your entry? I don't know. Like, that's kind of a weird question. There's probably more to it. So I'd want to talk to you more, see what's going on there. Okay, you guys got to understand the context of stuff you ask. There's always like much more. It's like a crazy question. Like, there's got to be more to it. Nancy says, can one travel to the USA after seeking asylum in another country? If the USA allows them to come in, that's it. You got to ask permission, and they'll probably not let you in, but give it a shot. Celeste says, what is the process of applying for naturalization? Thanks. So if you have appropriate, if you satisfy the requirements for applying for naturalization, U.S. citizenship, having a green card for a certain amount of time, not violating, getting absences, no criminal history, paying taxes, not coming to false citizen, no criminal history, and there's 20 more things. Then you file for N400 application for naturalization. You can do it online if you're in the United States, or you got paper as well. And then you submit it, and then you wait for a fingerprinting appointment, a potential RFE or interview. And then after the interview, if you're approved, oath ceremony. Is my question visible? Barry says, no, it's the first. Ask your question again. All things Parla says, if I get my fake document stamped at entry, is it considered a legal entry? That's going to have issues because if you use a fake document, what fake document are you using? You're going to have a fraud charge on you. So you have to get that waived then. Is using a fraud document considered admission? I don't remember what the rules are. Is that I just wouldn't want to mess around with that. Destiny says, on the I-864, should I put all three of my past tax returns, not just the last one, if they don't show much income? It seems like adding the past three is optional. So you have to write out on the I-864 graph, you have to write whatever the total income or adjusted gross income is for the last 3 years. However, you only need to submit at least the most recent one, but you have to list the last 3 years as part of the requirements. Okay, so the I-864 is what people have the most trouble with when doing their own cases. That's the affidavit support. That's to show that that person petitioning or a joint sponsor is doing a family-based case can financially support you in the United States. The form is really badly written, and they don't fix it, so it creates a lot of confusion in people. So it's pretty normal. The question is pretty typical. There's a lot of different questions we get on the I-64 that once people know it, they're like, oh, that makes sense, but it's so badly written that it makes it really hard. Sarah says, for my mom to renew her 10-year green card, does she physically need to be in the U.S.? No, but this might be a fingerprint appointment that she'll have to come back to. Brandy says, is it better to use my name before marriage when filing I-130, name on my passport, birth certificate? No, use whatever your legal name is because you have to send what that is, but have evidence of name change associated with it. Desi, thank you. The documents seem easy to me. Actually, accept the question about the address and his phone number. Like, do I put U.S. or Morocco info? Yeah, exactly. He's probably, it doesn't really make a difference. You can use whatever, but use his if he's overseas. But at Destiny, I think you had a fiance visa and your fiance came here. Is that correct? If so, use the U.S. stuff at this point. But I might be mistaken with another person who's asking questions. How long should I wait for an interview? Okay. How long should Nancy asks? How long should I wait to get an interview? NBC, who knows? I don't know. Forever says, I got an RFE for adjustment status I-45 for affidavit support, some initial marriage. What's the question, Forever? Nancy, my mother applied for me over 21 years in 2017. The children, I don't know how long it's going to take. They says, yeah, he'll be here, yes, on K1. So once on K1, just use the U.S. address on the I-864. All the U.S. contact information. I'm not sure what language that is, but applied I-485 for my mom. They asked me RFE for her income, age, and her education for public charge. They don't typically do that. And her age and education were on the I-485. You may have not filled out the form correctly, but those are all on the I-485 form. So I'm not sure why they would RFE on that. I mean, government sucks. They RFE stupid things, but on the I-485, they ask your age and your education and your income. So those are all there. I'm not. So you may not fill them out, or the government just didn't catch it. I'm not sure. That they do make mistakes that are pretty ridiculous. Destiny says he'll be on October 11th. So I guess we put the U.S. info. Thanks for thinking of me. You're welcome, Destiny. Good luck and God bless, and congrats on getting married. Joe Sutuama says USCIS requests to come in person for photo before they approve my green card, and I did. How long would it take to get my card? I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. F2B processing times, I don't know, years. Forever, should I submit my marital evidence to I-130 first before uploading my affidavit? What affidavit? You should submit everything all together. That's it. I filed, but the age education matters for public charge. It can technically, but they don't enforce it. In the rules, it said they should look at that, but in practice, as long as you have an affidavit support sponsor, they don't look at the age and stuff like that. Unless you want to be jerks about it. Destiny, thank you. Good night. Good night to you too, Destiny. So for the file affidavit support, it's like very political. So when Trump came, he was going to make it really hardcore and ask about that. So they updated some of the forms and the questions. But in practice, they last 40 years. They haven't been restricted. Obviously, those 40 years out. Maybe beforehand they were last 40 years now. Barry says, came 8 years ago when I was 15. Family applied asylum, still waiting for interview. My options. I don't know. I can't really advise to give a consultation though here right now. So schedule a private consultation with an attorney. This isn't meant for like that general question. For us, they request RFE for I-485 requesting affidavit. Well, you got to prep what they want. It's an affidavit, probably affidavit support. So that's the financial portion. Luis says, been waiting for my I-485 marriage for over 2 years. Is that normal? That's on the long side of things. It's not abnormal because the government's unreliable, but it's most cases are getting approved faster. But I see cases take that long too. Nepali says, what are the must-have documents for embassy interviews? Well, updated affidavit support documents, originals of your civil documents. For example, birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificates, whatever that is, a passport, doing the medical checkup, and also having the DS-260 receipt page really important, as well as the registration of your interview and delivery. That's the overview of what's required there. Sometimes every embassy is going to be different. So some might be like your original birth certificate, some don't. Unknown Stranger says, how can you interfile I-140 based I-485 to I-130 based I-480? Please help. So I really want to do that. I prefer redoing a new I-485 because it's discretion for them to allow to interfile. But you submit the case and you let them know that you intend on interfiling with appropriate receipt notices and evidence of the other case. But they could not accept it too. Very rarely do that, but it sucks. You got to pay another $1,440, but that's what I prefer to do. Gus says my I-618 case says fingerprints have been applied to your case. Waiting for 30 months so far. The I-618 is taking forever. User 18, please answer that. Answer what? What did I have to do to move I-130 from embassy to USCIS? You don't. You have to just file for adjustment status. And that's kind of, there's some issues going on in your case. I don't want to advise or talk anymore about that. I can't advise you. It already seems like there's some issues that are complicated your case. So please schedule a private consultation. Abdul Malik says, hi to you too. Brandon says, what things should I start gathering from me and my spouse and our kids to prove our relationship? I mean, if you have kids with your spouse, their birth certificate's enough, and that's it. But if you have other records, travel records, blah blah. But if you're married and have kids together, usually the child's birth certificate is 70% of the way there. Unknown Stranger says, so I need to file a new I-485, pay $1,400 instead of interfile. I can't tell what you need to do, but I would initially look at whether just filing new I-485 is better, because interfiling to kind of use the old I-485, it could potentially be denied, and so it's there's a risk there. So you got to really think of all this stuff, how much risk you want to take on. So it's better to have a consultation, talk about that kind of stuff, because it gets too much of your individual case. Then it says, how long does it take to get back your passport visa interview? 1 day, 4 weeks. Glenda says, good evening too. Bariana says, what are your supporting documents for N400 driver 3 years marriage, U.S. citizen, joint tax, marriage certificate, for green card? Yeah, joint tax returns, joint housing, residency proof, because you got to prove really that you've been married and living with your spouse. Their goal for 3-year citizenship based on marriage U.S. citizen is to show that you've been physically living together for the last 3 years. So the lease agreement is kind of more important, but the tax are good too. Nepali says, say your interview with consular officer, what is the main thing they are looking for? Depends on what kind of case you have. Is it a work-based space, family-based? What's the family relationship? What is your background? Do you have military background? Do you have arrest history? Is there affidavit support issues? It's just not generic like that. It's very specific to what's going on in your case. Glenn says, how long does it take? I'll answer that question. User one says, why my I-130 was terminated, denied, but my I-485 is still pending. I don't know. You might have. I don't know your case. I don't know what happened. Get the denial notice to see why. I know it says the pending I-140 based I-485. Yeah, and restoration not helping. Yeah, I mean, Ben, I don't know your case. I don't want to talk about interfiling because it's like too technical, and I don't want to like say something for you to do and go do it without having like talk with you fully about your case. So a private consultation is needed about that. Abdul Khalik says, I'm in Dallas. Can I, with ESTA status, can you change status? You cannot change status with ESTA or visa waiver program. Only thing you could do is apply for asylum, or if you're immediate relative, meaning you're a parent of U.S. citizen, spouse, or minor child, can you change it? Other than that, ESTA, you can't do anything. Glenn says, Shank says, if my priority date became before filing date, when I should submit documents by EAD? If yes, do I still need to maintain H-1B? Your question isn't clear, and there's too many questions. There's too much going on, so I can't answer that because first of all, it's not clear, and it's up to you if you want to maintain your H-1B. You could, once you file for adjustment of status, you no longer need to maintain the underlying status, but it's recommended that you do. M says my I-797B has the wrong COB. I assume country of birth. What can I do about it? Figure out why that happened, and if needed, contact the government to fix it up for error. Anna says, how long does it take for a case to get to the NBC? Really 1 to 8 weeks, but we have cases right now pending over 100 days. There's some errors going on with USCIS. How long does it take RFE for I-485 take? There's no how long. That's just how long they want to take. If I said one question, I've always filed my tax as single because my partner's not here. Is that okay? That's technically a violation both on the tax side and the immigration department. They don't really enforce it too much, but they could say, hey, why don't you file as married? Even though your spouse is not here, there are ways to file with your spouse and appropriate things to do, either married filing separately or something like that. I would say talk to an accountant is the right thing to do. Most accountants don't know what to do there, but that's the proper answer I got to give you. Unknown strangers, thank you. You're welcome. Now, Goody says sister's boyfriend got hired as assistant professor by NYU. He got his EB1 EB1A in 6 months. How come so fast? He probably did an EB1B, not EB1A. Those are faster. There's no line for those. They do pre and processing on those. So that's that. But he got hired as a professor. He probably did EB1B, not A. But it could be wrong. Could be EB1A. Our says, what if I'm F1? We just got married. I'm interested in continuing my education, but want to have adjustment of status file as I want to start working outside the college, although for travel benefit. Also travel benefits. You could do both probably. That's 2 case specific, so I can't tell you what to do. But you could potentially do both. But you got to get the work permission and travel permission. Once you get those, you start working and travel, you'll fall out of status your F1. But as long as the marriage case is good, it doesn't matter. But I would need to review your case to give you like more specific advice. Please schedule a consultation. Why says, my dad has a green card and wanted to stay outside for U.S. for longer than 1 year. He has applied for ranch permit in February 24. I haven't received a response. Well, you should get a receipt by now. If you haven't got a receipt, you should contact USCIS. Was it check cash? Was it a credit card charge? What's going on? But the ranch permits are taking forever. So it's an unfortunate problem. Arzu says, how long I-130 take to invite our parents? Take a year for the I-130, then a long time for actual green card. Abdul Khalik says, I'm from Australia. Can I asylum in the USA? We don't do asylum law. Probably not from Australia, but we don't do asylum law, so I don't want to talk about that. M says, we had an arranged marriage. We had a ceremony with both our families, acknowledging the relationship, and a couple months later, I proposed to my now wife. How can I show photos in the I-130 evidence that makes it sense to chronologically? Arranged marriage is not illegal. That's happened. A lot of people in Pakistan and India and stuff do that still. So in Iran, a lot of countries. So it's not abnormal. It depends on how your stuff looks. So I have to see it for myself and organize it. But essentially, it's just photos. It's like 1/20th of what you need. So having some photos is important so people see you, but they're looking for other stuff more because everyone can take photos and make it look real. Farnell says, my I-130 I-75 take longer than expected process. Do you think is there a problem with my marriage case? I support myself in the case of TN1 worker. I don't know what you think is longer than expected. I don't know what you expected. But I don't know anything about your case, so I can't speculate. I'm not here to speculate. YA says, follow up to previous question regarding range permit. He received the receipt, provided fingerprints, but no response afterwards. Yeah, range permits take anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, unfortunately. It's kind of crazy. Ulux says, filed TPS 6 months ago, now says take longer than expected. Yeah, again, everything is like that. Sultan says, pick up me, please, lawyer. One question. I'm asking every question that's coming through. So Sultan, you got to ask the question first, and then I can answer it. Johnson says, I got a receipt notice for I-13, I-64, but not I-75 normal. You didn't get a receipt notice for the I-864. There's no receipt notice for that. You probably mean I-485. If you didn't get the I-765, either you didn't file it or it's just coming a few days later. So you just wait. If you're going to your online account, you can see it. But if it takes longer than that, call them, say, hey, the check's been cashed, your credit card's in charge, and I still haven't got anything. What's the deal? Estelle says, can my mom, green card holder, apply now to bring my brother, who will be 21 years old, January 25th? She should file when he's a minor, so he could be in the F2A category. But if he's single, he's single. But she should as soon as possible for 21, because it's a different timeline for that. Chimwemi said that he may still lose out if he ages out of the case. So there's some difficulties. It's not clear what's going to happen in that case. Chimwemi says, what if I change jobs before filing for my adjustment status and approve I-140? It depends on what the basis of the I-140 is, what category it is. Potentially it ruins it. Potentially it's not a big deal. Hossein says, hi, for I-485 form, should I say yes to the question for charge that I pled guilty to misdemeanor? Yeah, that's a crime, but that may cause your case to be denied. And it might have issues with your previous visa application if you didn't mention it there. So you 100% need to talk with the immigration attorney in private to review that. You also need a documentation of the misdemeanor to see what's going on and conviction records, all this kind of stuff. So you need 100% talk to the immigration attorney. Anaya says, can you get a case expedited for a graduation for Jamaica, approve I-130? Not really. I mean, you give it a shot. You call them and ask and stuff, but I'm not optimistic. Estelle, can my mom, green card holder, apply or answer that question? Category is NIW, EB2. So for NIW, EB2, you don't need to have a job and stuff like that. You can change it. It's self-sponsor, so you're not stuck with a job. It's not a big deal. As long as you continue to maintain the work that you do and you plan to continue it, that's really the main thing. So whatever category you or field that you're in, just continue doing that work, and that's that. But you need to maintain status. There's general immigration stuff, but that's not a big deal with what you're worried about. Ola says, I have my I-751 still actively reviewed for more than a year now. How long does it take to get I-751 approved? Anywhere from 1 year to 3 years. You got a receipt notice that extended your green card for 4 years. So that gives you an idea of what they're expecting these timelines to look like. Chinwei says, thank you. Welcome. Gil says, my lawyer requested to expedite my case I-130. They asked for additional 6 days. Normal. There's no normal with immigration. They're just terrible when it comes to the expedite request. So it's like, it's not normal for them to say 6 days more, but like, it's not that your attorney's doing something wrong. It's just the government makes up things every time. Like, you never know what's going to happen. Every time I get a case, and people think like, that's why people ask how much these things cost. Every time we get a case, it's different. It's never the same. There's always, it's like everyone's fingerprint in their hands. Everyone has fingerprints. They all look the same if I look at it. But if you have magnifying glasses, each of our cases are going to look different. Each of our fingerprints look different. That's why I have to individually analyze each case. And every time each path is different, in life. We got two twins born to the same parents, raised the same, all that kind of stuff. The one comes an alcoholic, one comes a president. Or vice versa. I mean, probably the alcoholic becomes president, someone doesn't become president. But it's just the way it goes. Now, Polly says my friend's case was hold on administrative processing. Even he had all proof of marriage. Why? They're doing background checks. They never know why. It's just the government. All right, we'll take a couple more questions. We'll call it a day. Thank you for a lot of good questions today, everybody. Hossein says, so answering questions to being charged with petty misdemeanor civil violation deny my case. I don't know what the actual rule is. So you have to get the conviction record and analyze the case law of what the charges were, what was accused, what were you pled guilty to or found guilty of before you answer. I guess more technical than just saying a petty misdemeanor. It's like what you consider petty, or what the term petty is a generic term, doesn't really answer what we need to be answered. Fernando says, I mean, estimated timeline is finished almost last 2 months. Step 3 is not completed. There's no estimated timelines, unfortunately. Everything takes whatever the government wants. Niva says, if you have exponential wealth, is there any way to pretty much invest by a green card? There's a EB5 investor program. It's just not reliable, but that's what you'd have to do. Kazi says, Kusai says, hello, can we adjust the pending asylum through a nurse job and file status back in time? You probably have not maintained immigration status in the United States, so most cases will be denied. Sometimes they'll approve it, but most times they'll deny it. It's an inconsistency of how they adjudicate cases. Ibuku says, visa was issued 3 weeks ago, but I'm still waiting to receive my passport back. Contact the embassy, but they suck like that. Shank says, I approve EB1A and will be submitting documents based on filing date for October. Visa bulletin, my adjustment not current. Do I still have 6 days timelines if I lose job until AOS? If you're doing EB1A, you have 180 days based on INA 245. You last enter with admission. Shank, you should consult with the immigration attorney to have a technical consultation about a case like that. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm trying to speed fire some questions. Ibuku says, U.S. Embassy Nigeria. So Ibuku, please answer me what kind of case you had and how long were you documentally qualified until you got your embassy appointment? We help a lot of Nigerian people, not Nigerians, follow us online. Unfortunately, our timelines are horrible. So every time I can get some fresh information about timelines, I really appreciate to share it with everybody. Ibuku, if we can, let me know if Jen's in marriage, U.S. citizen, a green card, another kind of case, and how long it took from being DQ to get the interview. You're welcome, Kusei. Sarah says, hello, I'm a beneficiary. My petitioner hasn't paid taxes in the last 3 years. As long as the joint sponsor is required, the petitioner has to file. So they need to figure out if they didn't pay taxes because they didn't have any income or it was lawful for them not to file taxes. That's okay. They need to explain that in the application. But you need to, the petitioner still has to file an affidavit of support. And there's questions about taxes. So if they didn't pay taxes, they don't want to pay it, that's going to cause problems in your case. And okay. Can I sue the U.S. Embassy for delaying my case for no reason? Yeah, give it a shot. Bella says, I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm planning to marry to my U.S. girlfriend. She's a citizen. Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Barion says, thank you. You're welcome. And my husband is under TN visa, was advised for EB2 to H1B. One's a green card, one's a visa status. So it does not clear what they're advised. Schedule a private consultation. Because we got to wrap it up. It's over a 30-minute mark. How long is IFRI taking? It's at the time, I don't have timelines. Chinwei says, would trying the visa lottery multiple times hinder possible? Very unlikely for tourist visa. Very unlikely. And Hashima, I have a question about affidavit support, low income. How can you use real estate without value? Check out the instructions. It has the IA-64 instructions specify what to do there. And Bella, again, download our guide, Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website is marriageimmigrationlaw.com, or just schedule a consultation and we can get into your individual case and talk about it there. We handle a lot of marriages for U.S. citizens with Canadians, kind of a typical case we do, and then do that. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for everyone for joining. I wish you all the best. I'll be back again next Tuesday. Panda Bear, I answered your question really clearly. You're trying to get individual legal guidance on an app answering 4 things. I gave an answer very, very clear, as much as I could possible. And so, you got to, you get what you pay for. Let's put it that way. Okay, wait, Panda Bear, another question. Sorry. Someone seeking asylum in another country without a citizenship, passport, can't file fiancé. Okay, Panda Bear. I was mistaking for another question. It's not impossible. First of all, you have to have a passport of some kind, some sort of travel document. Panda Bears this, and sometimes the home country will not accept it if not legally in that country. If they're finally signed in that country, maybe they will. Depends on the status, but you got to ask the embassy to see if they will. That's really what it is. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back again next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, to answer your questions about U.S. immigration. We love talking about this stuff. In the meantime, if you want a private consultation, go to the website, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's our contact us page. Fill out the basic stuff there, and we can jump into it. Again, that's jqqlaw.com/contact. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Do not hire anybody and sign a contract or our firm unless you talk with me, or just talk with me and we have a video consultation. No one on WhatsApp or Facebook contact you. Is me. Those are fraud. Don't waste your money and your hopes up like that. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. Bye-bye.